am the culmination of one man's dream. This is not ego or vanity. If I am destroyed, something unique, something wonderful will be lost. I cannot permit that. I must protect his dream.
Hello, Bots and Books fans, this is Scorp1701, and tonight we are going to take a look at another awesome Star Trek The Next Generation figure from Super 7, and this is going to be the ultimate Lieutenant Commander Data, and I love Data. He was my favorite TNG character, and in fact, I got to meet Brett Spiner a few months ago in Columbus when I went up for GalaxyCon, and it was a great experience, and I am equally as excited to take a look at this awesome action figure. But first, let's take a look at the packaging. Now, it is in your standard Super 7 Ultimates box. You have a beautiful Starfield right here, and you have the Starfleet insignia here. You have ages 14 plus, Data, Super 7. On the top of the box, you have Ultimates. On the left side of the box, another Starfield. Right side of the box, Starfield. On the bottom of the box, we do get some credits and a barcode. And finally, coming to the back of the box, we have the Star Trek The Next Generation logo. Contents, one figure with accessories, Star Trek Universe, and Super 7. And that is pretty much it for the outer casing of the box. But as everyone knows, this is a slipcover, and all we have to do is lift this cover up, and behold, Lieutenant Commander Data in the packaging, and that looks awesome. There you see Lieutenant Commander Data surrounded by his accessories. You have ages 14 plus, Super 7 now appearing, Star Trek The Next Generation, and his name is still there. Nothing on this side of the box, nothing on this side of the box. Top of the box, you still have Ultimates. And coming around to the back of the box, you have a picture of Commander Data and a read-up. As I zoom in, we could take a look at that. That is very nice. And then we could scroll down to the bio, and you could read that. Pause the video to your heart's content, but we must be moving backward and onward. And that is going to be Lieutenant Commander Data in the packaging. But I don't want to see Lieutenant Commander Data in the packaging. I know you don't. So let's get him out and see how fully functional he really is. And here we have Lieutenant Commander Data out of the box, and out of the box he stands approximately 7 inches tall. He comes with a lot of accessories, in which we'll take a look at a little bit later. But first off, I want to take a look at the Commander himself. And coming real close in on Lieutenant Commander Data's head, it is a very nice head sculpt. You have your brown hair, which is nicely done. Almost looks black if the light is not bright enough, but it is brown. It is slicked back, and he comes down to a very pale, emotionless face. I really like that. The eyebrows are nicely done. The eyes are really good, and he has a little bit of paint for his lips and a little bit of shading down here under his eyes. That is really nicely done. Ears are molded in really well. I like the head sculpt. Coming around to the back of the head sculpt, nothing that you wouldn't imagine there. Coming down to his neck, nice and pale again. And zooming out from the figure so we can see his entire torso, you can see he's in your standard Starfleet uniform from seasons 3 through 7. And it's nice and gold or mustard yellow, depending on how you want to look at it. Has a nice tall black collar here with a little bit of the yellow and gold trim at the top. I like that. Coming down to his rank insignia. Now, the rank insignia is off, so we zoom in just a little bit. You can see he has 3 golden pips up on his collar. Now that is incorrect. Commander Data, where he was called Commander, he was actually Lieutenant Commander, so he should have had 2 golden pips and 1 black one, but I guess that is a nitpick of mine for this figure. Has a nice long sleeve shirt there. It comes down to some nice white hands. I like that. Comm badge looks really good. Nothing wrong there. It looks a little different than Commander Riker's. I think they actually filled it in a little more, so that is good. Coming down, he just has some nice black pants. Coming down to some nice shiny black shoes. I like that. And pretty much the same motif on the back of the figure. Nothing that you wouldn't expect there. So for the most part, it's real easy to get these figures to look right. I mean, the uniform is pretty standard and there isn't much to it. It's not a difficult design. For the most part, it looks great. All right, and that is what Commander Data looks like. Moving on. And for articulation, starting at the head can go around 360 degrees. It has a nice bit of wiggle waggle to it, left and right. It can go down a little bit, up a little bit, and you get that classic Data head tilt. I like that. Fascinating. And then coming to the shoulders. Shoulders can come up from the body and then back down, 360 degrees around. It is built into a bicep rotation, 360 degrees right there. Coming down to an elbow bend, very short elbow bend, not even 90 degrees. Not my favorite, but it's there. And that is built into a forearm rotation, 360 degrees there. Coming down to his hand can rotate 360 degrees, hinges up, hinges down, and that is pretty much it for the hand, which is fine. Coming to the center of the body, you kind of got an ab crunch here because the torso is kind of built into this little midsection thing, so that is a neat little articulation. So it can go around 360 degrees if you're so inclined, and that will bring us down to the legs. Legs can go up just a hair, back just a hair, out to the side a lot more, so that is cool. We got like a click of thigh rotation, not too much there. Coming down to the knee bend is about as much as you expect. Like the elbow bend, there's not much to it, but at least it's something, and that is built into a 360 degree rotation there for, like, I guess a boot cut. Then you come down to the foot, and the foot is pretty much stuck because of the cuffs, but it is supposed to rock forward and around the world 360 degrees there, and a little bit of rotation down. So it's kind of tough to move. Maybe heating that up a little more will get it a little better, but for the most part, that is your articulation. This guy's stiff like a robot.
I am an android, not a robot.
Oh, sorry, Data. Sorry. All right, and that is your articulation. Moving on. And coming to accessories, the first accessory I want to take a look at is one of Data's alternate heads. And it's basically a Data head, or a lore head, or B4 head, or who knows what kind of head it is. But it's an Android, Noonien Sung Android heads. And it looks nice. Data's face there, and the eyes are a little wonky. You got one pupil kind of centered there, and one pupil going up there, so that's kind of funky. Ears and head is pretty much sculpted neat, and on this side you have the awesome head that's opened, and then you have this wire or control panel taken out of it. That's pretty cool. Zooming in a little close, you can see there's a lot of neat little detail in there with some painted lights and stuff. Now, you opened it up and he did have some yellow and green lights that flashed, and that is pretty neat. And I guess somebody could hold this, or Data could hold this, because it could be his head from Time's Arrow. Who knows? And for the most part, it's a good alternate head. Alright, moving on. And coming to Data's next accessories, we got a group of accessories here that we're going to take a look at one at a time, and they're all set up for Data's poker game. So, taking a look, first off, we have Data's awesome alternate head with his visor. That is pretty cool alternate head. It has basically the same head, but obviously you got this cool little visor, and it is clear at the top. It looks like it's got some glitter in there, nice green for the brim of the visor, so that is pretty neat. And it's just molded on there, so you can't take it off or anything like that, so that is cool. Coming down, he does have an alternate hand holding playing cards, and this is very similar, if not the same hand that came with Commander Riker. It's just painted pale, and it has a different suit of cards. You can see here it has the Royal Flush of Hearts, so that is pretty neat. Zooming out, we can go to Data's next hand, and he has a pile of chips, and these are pretty neat. You got some gold chips in there, you got some orange chips and some silver chips, and they just go on a table or something if you have that. I'm not exactly sure if they're going to give us a table, but all the characters that we've reviewed so far, which is only 2 of course, have had poker motifs, so we might get some more, and if we get enough we can start a game of our own, I think. Alright, and finally coming down to Data's last poker accessory, he does have a pile of silver chips, and these are very small and very detailed though. You can see they're kind of cut to the side. There's a good many in there, so I thought it might have been something else, but I guess it is poker chips, because I can't think of anything else that was that small and silver for Data. But anyway, alright. And those are his 4 accessories for his poker game. Moving on. And the next accessories to take a look at are these alternate hands. Now they are molded and sculpted in a particular kind of way, and that is to be able to hold Data's awesome violin. And this is a very nice looking violin mold. I love the way they did this. As you can see, it has a nice huge body. You have a nice neck coming down to some posts for the strings, curls up here at the top, and you can see the strings all decked out in silver here. Very nice. You even got a chin rest right here, and that is very cool. On the back, it's just basically solid. You got a little bit of feet right here. That is cool for the violin itself. And he also comes with a bow, because you can't play your violin without a bow, and it's really nicely done. You can see it's done in different colors. You got the brown, and you got the bowstring here. Got a little bit of black and silver on the end, so that is neat. And he can hold this in his hands, and it's a pretty good fit for him. And then if you pull it up just a little bit, it does look like he can play it, and it is kind of short and it doesn't exactly get to his chin, but with a little bit of camera fakery, it looks okay, I think. So, and it's pretty neat that all these characters are starting to come with instruments. You had Commander Riker with his trombone, and now Data his violin. I'm pretty sure Captain Picard may come with his little flute, and we'll see what the other guys come with. Alright, and that is Data's violin and violin hands. Moving on. And coming to Data's next alternate hand is one that we have seen before, and this is the standard phaser holding hand, and it will fit right into here. It's the exact same one that we got with Riker, except it's just painted pale to match Data's skin tone, and the phaser fits right in there with the thumb right on the button. Very nicely done. I love this sculpted hand. It looks really good. And coming to the phaser, this is the exact same phaser we got with Riker, and it's still a great mold, and I don't see really any reason that you should change it. So yeah, very happy with this, and he can hold it and shoot at Borg or Lore or whoever it is he wants to shoot at. Alright, and that is going to be your phaser and phaser holding hand. Moving on. And Data's next accessory is his tricorder, and this is a very nicely done tricorder. It is silver. You do got a lot of cool detail on the outside with some color, a little bit of red for the buttons, and that is cool. On the top, you got a little more molded detail there. Back is pretty much solid, no detail there. The sides solid, and it does open up, so it's very, very small, so be very careful. But you can open this up, and when you open it up, you got an awesome display screen in there, some panels on the side that light up, and down here you got some buttons and some more colors, and it's red. I like that. And this is just a really cool accessory, and it's very good for how small it is. And he could hold this with various hands and, you know, scan the terrain and look for life forms and all sorts of things if he was so inclined. Alright, and that is Data's cool little tricorder. Moving on. And for Data's final accessory, he comes with his faithful feline companion, Spot. And Spot is basically just a single molded piece. He does have a little bit of soft plastic for the tail, so it can move a little bit, but for the most part, he is stationary, and he's just going to sit around the ship and cause trouble. And he's alright for our, I keep saying he, but Spot is a she. Well, I guess it depends on which season you are. Spot changed genders, so she could have kittens and add to the plot. But anyway, it's done. She's done in a nice brown and light brown and some cream under the chin. The eyes are really nicely done. Got a little bit of pink for the nose. That is just a cool little sculpt. Now, mine looks a little like somebody took a brush with white paint on it and kind of smeared it all over it. It's not as solid as I'd like, but I don't know if that's just an effect they were going for, or if it was just mine fell off of the belt and somebody grabbed it with white on their fingers. And so, but anyway, it looks good, and Spot can sit next to Data or stand next to Data, and it's just really cool to have a little pet companion. Alright, and that is going to be Spot. Moving on. And for comparison, here you have the Super 7 Data with the Art Asylum Data, and I can tell there's a big difference between these two figures, even though they are representing the same character. The Art Asylum is a little taller, but I think the sculpt of the face is better on the Super 7. Try to close that gap in so you can see the differences, and that is pretty neat. The yellow in the eyes on the Art Asylum is pretty striking. The insignia is correct on this collar as opposed to the 3 golden. You got the 2 golden and the 1 black. The outfit is going to be the same, so there isn't really much distinction there. The articulation in the Art Asylum is going to be better than it is here because this one has a fuller range of motion, and that's okay. And when it comes to gimmicks, the Art Asylum Data had a removable headpiece, so you could actually go in there and see all of that Data's goodies on the inside of his head. Now, this good thing is also a bad thing, because where is the cover now? I don't know. Lost in a plethora of boxes that have toys, and I would have to plow through to try to find it. So, I don't know. If you have the Art Asylums, the Super 7 aren't necessary, but I do think, even though it has limited articulation, the Super 7 looks a little more closer to the actor than the Art Asylum. Alright, and that is going to be Data comparisons. Moving on. And for comparison, here you have Data with his wavemate, Commander Riker, and I think they look great together. The aesthetic is very striking, very much like it would be if the actors were turned into semi-cartoons and brought off the screen. And the height is good. Commander Riker is supposed to be taller than Data, and you put them back to back like that. That's good. Showing them face to face. Again, that is really nice. And yeah, it's not just reuse in the figure. The torso on Riker, I believe, is actually longer. So they did have to do a completely new body mold for Data. So that is cool. And yeah, I can't wait to get the rest of these guys. And that is going to be your comparison. Moving on. And this has been the Super 7 Star Trek The Next Generation Ultimates Lieutenant Commander Data. And this was an awesome figure to take a look at, and I am so happy to add it to my collection. Now, before I picked up the Super 7 TNG characters, I had not bought a Star Trek character since 2006, and I am very happy to get an updated figure. Now, this figure isn't perfect. The Art Asylum still has a better articulation than this figure, but I think the sculpt and the mold on this figure is better, and it looks more like Brent Spiner than the Art Asylum. The paint on this figure is awesome. I just wish they hadn't have painted one of those little pips on his collar, but that may be just a nitpick. But again, it is an important part of his character. I think the comm badge is done a lot better here than it was on Commander Riker's. Both sides of the delta seem to be filled out, so it doesn't look gappy or hollow. The accessories with Data were pretty good. You had your tricorder, which he needs, a phaser. The violin, I think, was great. Spot, definitely must have. Additional hands, okay. The alternate head with the wire coming out of it, that's pretty cool. The head with the card visor and the poker accessories, I think that may have been a little too much. If I would have had my way about it, I think I would have given him an alternate head with a Sherlock Holmes hat, maybe a pipe, and I think he would have definitely came with his Tasha Yar memorial thing. But we got other things, and I guess it's okay. The only thing I didn't really like about this figure was that the articulation was limited like it was with Commander Riker. I think that's just how they're going to do the articulation, so I'll get used to it. And that's pretty much this guy. If you're looking for him, you can find him online for around $55 to $60, depending on where you pick him up. Some comic shops may have this line too, but it's going to be rare. So that's it, guys. That is the review. I hope you enjoyed looking at Lieutenant Commander Data. I know I did. Hope you have a great night, and until next time, keep playing.